Having a process-oriented mindset will allow you to make the money that you want to make in the markets. And I really do believe for myself that I really need to get back to that process-oriented mindset. Otherwise, I'm not going to be a consistently profitable trader. Otherwise, I'm not going to get the payouts that I would like to get. Otherwise, I'm not going to do what I need to do in order to make money for myself and my family. And why am I trading? Why am I doing any of this? I'm doing it for freedom, right? Time freedom, location freedom, do whatever I want freedom, right? But to be able to help people freedom as well, you know? And I think today was a good reminder to myself, that I need to really focus on the process. Otherwise, I'm just not going to make money in these markets. I took a great trade today. I took it exactly when I wanted to. Well, maybe not exactly when I wanted to, but um within the reason to take it, right? But did we do a good job of managing our trade? No. Did we have FOMO? Yes. Were we impatient? Yes, absolutely, right? And I feel like because of the way that I traded last time, I was a little bit nervous, a little bit scared, you know, um, and then also too kind of having like lingering feelings like, oh, I don't deserve what I have right now. I don't deserve to have four funded accounts. I don't deserve, to be in a position where I can attain more payouts as well, and those were all the things that were lingering in my mind. I felt like um the past day that I traded, I felt like a relapse, going on tilt, FOMOing, over leveraging, doing all of those things, and it kind of led into what happened today, which was scared trading, right? Mark Douglas talks about it all the time about how we make mental errors when we're afraid, and I made a mental error today because I was afraid. I took a good trade, as you can see here, right? Let's kind of go to trading view for a second. My chart is so messy today. I've been practicing ranges, so I have a lot of extra lines I normally wouldn't have. Um, but here we broke the zone. Perfect, right? Obviously, our zones have changed. Broke the zone, retested, came back down on higher volume. There was a bottom wick here, fine. There was a bit of support too by this orange line if you go all the way back here as well. But for me, that's a valid trade. We had broken the zone, right? Our stop loss comes right here at 842.75 as well. And that should have been enough for me, you know? I took two contracts there on this candle. I could have waited for a better entry, but guess what happened? I FOMO'd. This was a big body red candle, right? Of course it pulled back up. Of course it did. I got in at 806, but I could have gotten in much better. I could have had a better entry, right? I could have come in 50% of this candle right here. I could have come in at 810, you know? I could have come in a little bit better, right? I did end up confirming lower here, right? So this is where I added contracts, right? I added a couple more contracts. Actually, I added here because what happened? I FOMO'd. It continued to run lower without me, right? I set a limit order for 800 and never came back to that point until here, right? And I FOMO'd. And then all of a sudden it started reversing up and I was like, nope, I'm out. Why? Right? The Vic who got a payout, the Vic who was being profitable would have been like, okay, I'm being patient, I wait, right? You see this huge candle? That's the move I could have had. That's the move I could have been patient with if I had just set my stuff and just walked away, right? Set my stop loss where I had it initially and walked away. But one of the things that I also messed up on today was my risk. So going into this going into this funded account, what I want to do is I always want to risk $150 per trade. And then after I risk $150, I can add to the trade for a maximum of $300. When I added here, the -2 here, I added two contracts, but I didn't do any calculations. I just thought, oh, two should be okay, right? It was not. It actually put me at about $380 stop loss, right? Now, another mental error I made was I should have moved my stop loss. If I ever add, I always move my stop loss. My stop loss should have come from here, this level, to here. That took off about 10 points. Those 10 points times four contracts is 40 times two um, is 80. Guess what? From 380, you go to that $300 risk. And I would have been fine. And I would have been like, okay, let's see what happens. Come down. Nothing crazy. No high volume. There was only high volume here, but it wasn't even as high to signify a pullback. Wait, wait, wait. Come all the way down, and then boom. My target of 770 would have been hit here. Maybe you leave a runner or so. Maybe you close out now, right? But that would have been a spectacular trade. Get the funded account off right, doing the things that you need to do. And I didn't do it, right? And why is that? Because I'm thinking about the money. I'm thinking about how trading can make me so much money. I'm thinking about I have 14 or 14. I have four funded accounts. If I copy trade all of them, I can make so much money. I can do this, I can do that. It's like, no, you know? Think about the process. Go back to how you were trading beforehand. Go back to doing what you need to do. Go back to setting a stop loss and keeping it there. Go back to following through with the trade. Go back to looking at volume price analysis and letting it tell you when to get in the trade, letting it tell you when to get out of a trade. You know, there was nothing here that signified me to get out of a trade. Nothing, right? This candle might have been a little bit scary, but that's a small green candle for as much volume as we got, right? These candles here, I was right to enter after this one. That this volume makes these look small, but that was significant volume at the time, right? So yes, there was a pullback here, absolutely. It was okay to enter. That's my model. Our stop loss is here. We're risking low, $150. We decided to add here where we wanted to add here. We set our limit order. Should have been at 800. I knew it was going to come back. Well, I didn't know, but I had a really good feeling that it was going to come back, retest 800, right? So you set something there. That's what I did, but I didn't follow through. Instead, I just moved my limit order down. I literally caught the almost the bottom of that move, right to add. Then my entry was shifted all the way a lot lower than what I wanted. My stop loss was set at $380. I didn't have the wherewithal, the presence of mind to be able to shift my stop loss down. Instead, I was like, nope, I'm out, you know? And then I locked my account after that. I was like, oh, maybe possibly I could wait for another entry, right? Which I said I would possibly add um I forgot what candle I said I'd add. Maybe this one right here, right? I had about 780, 788 or so, maybe 785. Get that move down, 755. Who knows, right? But that wouldn't have been the same, And I have to be able to tell myself that. I have to be able to say, Vic, focus on the process. A process-oriented mind will get you whatever you want. I kind of have to treat it like a video game. I have to treat it like I'm playing, Pokemon, right? Where you're grinding levels. You have to be processed. Like you can't go into, if you're playing Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, you can go to whatever gym you want, right? But it's not scaled. So then let's say that I go to, the last gym leader you're supposed to go to, or one of the middle ones when I first start the game, I'm going to lose, right? Because I didn't build up my Pokemon yet. I haven't caught enough Pokemon. I haven't leveled up the way I'm supposed to. I'm going to the wild area and these Pokemon over leveled. I'm constantly running to Nurse Joy, you know, because of the Pokemon Center to heal my Pokemon for those of you who don't understand the Pokemon reference. And I'm losing, right? Because I'm not focused on the process. I'm just focused about the end result. I'm focused about getting all 8 Pokemon badges, challenging the Elite Four, becoming a master or a champion or whatever, instead of focusing on these are the things that I need to do in order to make myself the most successful I can at trading, right? Or being a Pokemon master, you know? And that's the way it should be. I literally, not that I've forgotten that, but I was so focused on something else that really shouldn't be having my focus. And I need to continuously improve on that because today would have been an awesome trade. It would have been so good. I would have been really happy with the result. First trade on the funded account. Finally, two price action seems to be moving appropriately of how I trade. I'm still learning how to trade ranges here, but today was not exactly a day for ranges. It looked like it here, right? It definitely did look like it here, but we can't always think, okay, trade ranges. Like we got to come in with our setup first, and then afterwards, then we'll look to trade ranges. And even so, right? I wasn't gonna trade a range on my funded account anyway. I was gonna do it on the paper account. So, um, but I think coming into tomorrow, which will be the last trading day for me, um, for the week, I just need to stick to doing what I need to do. Right? I need to stick to trading the way that I need to trade. I can back test all I want on the weekends, but during the weekdays, when I already have so much going on at work, when I already have so much going on with trading in general, I need to focus on doing what I need to do for my trades, not looking for other trades, because I also believe that myself, one, um, backtesting before I traded today, and then also two, looking for ranges as I was trading, right? Also kind of messed me up. I'm not at the level yet where I can forward and live test ranges yet. I still need to back test. I'm still taking a lot of notes. I'm still doing what I need to do in order to be profitable range trading, but I'm not there right now. So until then, throughout the week, Sunday through Thursday night, Sunday night through Thursday night, we are focusing on trading our setup. You took a great trade today. I was just scared, you know. But other than that, maybe Friday and Saturdays we'll back test a lot. Maybe 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day, focusing on range trading. Focusing on developing our model for that and focusing on what we need to do in order to get better in that aspect. But we are not there yet, and we will get there for sure. Last thing I want to say too is, a lot of times I always think whenever I watch other YouTubers or other traders say, oh, like I was scared to take this trade, blah, blah, blah. I always thought, like, why are you scared? Like, you're getting so much money from affiliate codes, you're getting so much money from people watching your content. Like, why should you be scared to take a trade? But it's because we're putting so much emphasis and priority on how much money we can make and how much money we don't want to lose, that we lose sight of the process that we actually need to do in order to be profitable, right? And that's something that happened to me today too. Like I have a good job, I have a stable income. Yes, like am I struggling financially with my girlfriend? Absolutely. We are struggling a little bit financially right now. But for the most part, as long as I don't get hurt, I can continue to go to work and I can continue to get paid, a certain amount every single month. And I don't have to worry so much, about, oh my gosh, when are the bills going to get paid? When is this going to happen? When is that going to happen? Like, we have enough money for the time being that we're okay, you know? So I shouldn't be scared either. Also, I have three other funded accounts that I can activate in the background. I shouldn't be scared either. Because if I blow this one, right, trading the right way, doing the right things, if I blow it, I have three more chances. That's just the truth. I have three more chances, right? So we really need to focus on that. We really need to not be scared. We really need to set our stop loss and not move it until it confirms more in our direction, right? Until the levels change. We really need to not close positions early because that's a bad habit that I have formed recently. Even on my last winning trade, um, before the day that I tilted, I closed the position early. And then the trade before that, I closed the position early when they both ran in my favor. Why am I doing that? Right? My stop loss was placed at a good pivot point. Why am I closing my trade early? Let it hit it. Because if it hits it, then it really signifies that you were wrong, right? Your initial bias was wrong. How you thought the trade was going to play out was wrong. And your stop loss is stopping you from continuing on losing the rest of your money, right? So I need to stop doing that as well. I'm so scared that, oh, it'll hit my stop loss and then it'll start reversing my direction. I think that's something that has really plagued me as well. But how many times has that happened to me over the past month? Zero. I don't even think it's happened to me since April, where it hit my stop loss and then reversed in my direction, actually. So why am I so afraid of it? You know? Anyway, that was a little bit more passionate than I usually am. You can tell how, I mean, I guess you could say annoyed, but I'm not really annoyed. I'm just kind of disappointed in how I traded today because it was a great trade. I just messed up. I didn't handle it well. I didn't manage it well. But what I'm really happy about is that it actually went well. Sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, does my setup even work anymore? It does. It's kind of like, when you have, well, for me, my girlfriend, she's like, do you still love me? It's like, yes, I still love you. And yes, my model still works. So, yeah. I'm not really I'm not really too fussed. Tomorrow we'll come back again. Same thing, risk $150. Really focusing on the process, right? When I look at how much money I lose, losing $300 does not bother me. But anything over $300, like 350, 400, that's when it starts to bother me, you know? So I have to make sure that I keep it at 150, and if we add, we lower our stop loss. If it reverses, then it reverses, you know? And it just tells us we were wrong or we should have taken profits at a different point or whatever. It's collecting more data, but at the same time, we know what we're doing. We're funded, right? You know, and we know what to do. And this is actually the last point because this is something I was thinking about too while I was in the shower today after I worked out. And man, I mean, I'll probably go into this more in another video, but all I could think about from November when I first started trading futures was getting that certificate, telling myself that I'm a funded trader, you know? And then January, that was the goal. My goal was to be funded by April 12th, the end of the League of Legends season. I reference a lot of video games, so if you guys don't get it, I'm sorry, but to be funded by April 12th, that's what I wanted. That's absolutely what I wanted. I just wanted that certificate. And then I finally got it in February, and then I changed the goal to get my first payout by April 12th. Now, that didn't happen. Obviously, I even took a month off to really learn what I needed to do. But I ended up getting my payout a couple months later. So now we've done it. We've gotten our name on that certificate. We've gotten our first payout, right? What do we do now? We got to focus on the process. That's what it's about because I want the next payout and I want the next one. And I want a $1,000 payout. I want a $2,000 payout. I want a $5,000 payout. I want a $10,000 payout. And ultimately, I want a $20,000 payout. But how do we get there? We focus on the process. That's all we can do, and that's all we should do. You know, I'm going to ingrain it into my brain that I am focusing on the process. I am getting rid of anything else that detracts from that. Because at the end of the day, we are clicking buttons in order to make money. We are looking at candlesticks, Japanese candlesticks. We are looking at lines. We're looking at these indicators in order for us to make money, and then we click buy or sell. That is what we do here. It's nothing extravagant, it's nothing sexy, it's nothing out of this world, you know? So why am I putting so much emphasis on the end result when it should be about the process, right? The process will get you the money that you want to attain. It will get you to where you want to go. For all of those people who want Lamborghinis, it will get you those Lambos. For people like myself who want to move out of where I'm at, I live in Florida. I want to leave Florida, you know, it will get me where I want to go. You know, do I want to take care of my dad, my mom, my family, my friends, my girlfriend? Do I want to take care of my rabbit? Absolutely. It will allow me to do that if I focus on the process. I swear it will. And it will for you too. So, all right, that's literally it for the video, guys. I know I've dragged on for way too long, but I just wanted to say that because I need to hear this for myself. This is a note for myself too. For myself to be able to come back to this video and say, focus on the process. I promise you, it will get you to where you want to go. You would have had a great winning day today, and you would have been able to do the things that, or you will be able to do the things that you want to do if you continuously focus on the process. So that's what we're going to do. We'll come back tomorrow. Hopefully, we get another setup tomorrow. And we focus on the process. Win or lose, who cares? If it never confirms, then I lose $150. If it does confirm and it reverses, then I lose $300, and I'm not bothered. But what I am bothered about, or what I will be bothered about if I continuously trade the wrong way, is if I don't follow my process. So it was a good reminder today. We didn't even lose, right? We're doing this on a winning day, technically break even day, and we'll get there. So anyway, guys, that's it for this video today. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are having a good week trading. And yeah, keep trading stoically and focus on the process.